Friends come and go, but family is forever. And this line was spoken by Greg's mom from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Book 8. So while I'm not going to be talking about family today, I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on friends as well as friendships and what they mean to me. So as I'm in college right now, I've been really resonating with Greg's mom's words and the fact that the truth is you don't really get to see your friends that often anymore. Yes, this could be because I go to a bigger college. Yes, for sure. But even in any sized college, everyone's going to be doing their own things. I find it increasingly hard to plan around my friends' schedules and my own schedule, where it's very difficult to hang out. And a lot of the times it has to be something spontaneous now, which is why I've started to cherish like every moment that I can get with my friends because I know I'm not going to be seeing them too often, if at all, in the future. Like, it's only going to be more and more difficult to see my friends in the future when we're all more and more busy with our own things. So transitioning to how I viewed friendships in high school and through the lens of a child, I suppose, I feel like a lot of the friends I was with were people that I was just around. These are like the friends that I call by proximity. They're basically just the people that you hang around and see very often, day to day, that you end up becoming friends because you're just bunched together in the same place or doing the same activity. For example, I was on the swim team, so I'd interact with and see a lot of the guys on the team because we'd always be swimming together. We had practice every day, and through that, we kind of developed our own network of friendship. So the same can be said about friends that you gain through playing video games, like you're always together playing the same game, or friends that you gain from being in the same class, like you'll see each other in class, you'll talk to each other, but the thing is, after you leave those places, you don't really see them or talk to them anymore. Granted, yes, as a high schooler, not everyone's got a phone, I suppose, not everyone's mature yet too, so it's more like everyone's just there at the same place. And that's the kind of feeling that I got when I was in school. I would have friends that I just see in class and they would still be considered my friends, but I wouldn't really like hang out with them, right? Same with the friends that I'd play video games with. I didn't necessarily hang out with them all the time. And I think that was, yes, because I didn't really hang out in general back in high school, but I think it's also because I didn't really open myself up for conversation. And I think conversations were a really big driving factor in how I perceive friendships nowadays. Because the friends that I hung out with in high school, like the few friends that I had conversations with and had very deep talks with, they weren't often the same people that I was close in proximity with. I've developed that closer emotional bond with those friends that I've had conversations with because we just have something that brings us together. And I think that just kind of makes the distinction between friends from proximity and friends from like an emotional connection. Something I think about is, would I tell this person what was going on if I was going through a breakup or some other personal struggle? I don't necessarily see that in some of the friends that I've gained from swimming or from playing video games because we didn't really have that emotional connection from conversation. So not everyone that I was a friend with, like through proximity, was necessarily someone that I could have a conversation with. Now, granted, there are people that I did have in that intersection, but that was a very few subset of people. So yes, I think everyone is still on their own track in terms of emotional growth in high school. So that could be a factor in why not everyone was someone that I viewed as having a deep conversation or emotionally close because of that. And I myself wasn't really emotionally grown up at that stage in my life either. So that's not to say that you can't become close with people you're in proximity with all the time. I just think that high school presents a unique context or a unique case where most people are just trying to fit in, and that's partially their motivation for wanting to find friends, but also most people don't really think about that either. And I feel like people are just like, okay, let's just be friends because we're doing something together. And that's not a problem either. I don't think that's bad, but I just think that I didn't see that emotional connection. And that's something that I strive for now that I've been exposed to emotional connections a lot more in my friendships. So yeah, moving on to college, I think the idea of opening up has helped me think of friendships in a different way, where I feel like I want to have more interesting conversations with people all the time. Now, it's not always going to happen, like I understand that, of course. In order to, I guess, boost the odds of having like good conversation with people, one of my friends, she told me like a really good piece of advice, which is like sometimes you do want to overshare with people just a little bit. And when you give more details to others and talk about your personal life a little bit more, that does help the other person feel more comfortable around you and also want to open up as well. And a lot of people in like their late teens and early 20s, like we're all growing still. Your brain fully develops when you're 25. Like this is what the time that you start processing things in your life, and finding someone to talk to and having someone to open up to and be comfortable around is really useful, and I feel like it's a very important and valuable thing to have. So back to friends coming and going, which is what I said at the beginning of the video. I feel like I'm in the mindset now that friendships are and they will be temporary because everyone's kind of flying by in college. You don't get the chance to really sit down as often as you used to in high school or in middle school when you had that time. Now I just want to really enjoy the times that I can with people and make the most with my relationships, which to me feels more like that emotional connection rather than just being close with somebody because you're just there with them. So moreover, this is kind of developed into a quality equals quantity approach with friends. I feel like you want to have a pretty strong quality of friends that you're around, people that you can reach out to when you're going through shit, when you need that support system for you. You need those people that you can trust for those specific cases too, and they're very, very important. Like, I think having a strong support system is very, very important, and that should be done before quantity. So really, it should be like quality first, and then start focusing on quantity once you have quality, like the foundation of quality locked down. And for quantity, yes, that's just like having a lot of friends. I feel like that's important to have a lot of people that you know, because it helps expand your network, it helps expand your perspective and bring diversity to it. And it's not the best to put yourself into a bubble at the end of the day either. And what I try and do with the quantity aspect of friendships is to still have a lot of friends that I can see myself having a conversation with or hanging out with, because we've got that one or two conversations that have brought us together, that have given us an emotional connection that we can go back on and reignite a friendship if we haven't talked to each other in a while, for example. So I value deep conversations with my friends now because it helps me understand them better, and it also helps me understand myself better. I feel like I'm a lot more emotionally conscious now, and I'm more aware of how I am around people and how my friends are as people. And I noticed that I'm one to really enjoy those deep talks, as I said earlier, rather than doing a specific activity sometimes, like, going out with friends to escape room or maybe just going to the park. Like, those are fine, but I also really, really value just having a good conversation too. Like, I could just sit in the car and talk with someone for 3 hours, and I feel like that would be a really fun use of my time and a really fun thing to do, because there's just so much to talk about and think about nowadays. So yes, I also think that makes me feel closer to my friends in another way. And I'm not just saying that, like, goofing around is a bad thing to do either. Sometimes you're gonna need to do that. It's important to have fun in that respect as well. And I'm not saying that I don't want to do it, but I feel like I don't really prefer it as much as just having a conversation nowadays, because I feel like I want to express myself more, and I feel like I've had that chance to grow and mature a lot, and it's so much more interesting to just see how other people have grown, other people have changed, and how other people think. So in the future, I guess for friendships in general for myself, I know I'm going to be busy. Like, that's a given. I'm going to be busy. Everyone's going to be busy. People have less time for others, and most people are going to be focusing on themselves, especially in college when everyone's got their own priorities. So my outlook on friends is really just, when I do get that chance to talk to someone and have that deep connection and conversation with them, I think it's just like taking a snapshot of each other's lives. So, yes, we're both capable of changing at some point, but we're always going to have that snapshot of each other's lives that we think about and look back on. And we're like, oh, I remember this person. They did X and Y for me. We had this great talk together. I still think of them very highly in this sort of way. And, maybe we won't see each other for a very long time. That is kind of how friends work. But on the flip side of that, friends are there to help each other. And I feel like just because you don't see someone for a while doesn't mean that they're not going to be willing to help you out or hang out with you if they can find the time. We have friends so we can pass the time together and so we can make our lives less boring, and also to have someone to talk to at the end of the day. So really, I just want to leave with the note that friends are there to help each other out, and that's what friends are for at the end of the day. With that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.